get you some reaction then. The spokesperson of the Jacob Zuma Foundation is Mzwanele Manyi, and he's with us here live from the court precinct of the Pietermaritzburg High Court. So there you have it. No surprises insofar as what the former president's legal team had put forward, but it doesn't seem at the very least that the NPA is convinced. How do you reckon today will go?
No, it's not clear on which basis the NPA is not convinced, because the law is very clear. The issue of reconsideration is part of the appeal process. Now, when a case is on appeal, it's a no-brainer that the underlying court judgment gets suspended. Up until NPA says no, the reconsideration is not part of the appeal, then they would have a case. But as long as what is the case right now, that the reconsideration is part of the appeal, the same rules apply, nothing changes. So therefore, strictly speaking, we should have spent 10-15 minutes here just to clear those matters out, and we should have been out of here. And all of this is why I suspect they're just going to come back and tell us at 2 o'clock that the case is postponed pending the outcome of the reconsideration application.
What there is agreement about is that even just the application itself is not within the jurisdiction of Judge Piet Koen, who sits here. This would have to be, the merits of the application, the reconsideration application, would have to be something ventilated by Judge President Mandi in this particular instance. What Billy Downer has also said, though, is that as far as the NPA is concerned, this is a non-application, and I'm paraphrasing here. What's your response to that?
Well, look, I don't know if they think that the processes that are in place are non-processes, because if that was the case, there wouldn't be such a thing as a reconsideration. The reason we have a reconsideration is because it's been settled that you can have situations where such an application becomes applicable. So for them to say this is this thing of getting used to abusing processes. So for us, we are just following the law to the latter, and the law states that when you have a situation like this, you can apply for a reconsideration. So there's nothing unlawful about what we've done. So they are just commenting because they can, but there's nothing legal about their comment. They're just expressing an emotional opinion.
Darin Mpofu has spent some time responding to those perceptions about the former president using some kind of Stalingrad approach in these particular proceedings. That public perception will be there. Whether or not it's unfounded, I guess, is a separate conversation. What's your response today, given this latest attempt to have a postponement in this matter, that the former president is throwing everything he can to try and ensure that the case itself doesn't begin?
Today, in fact, I think if anything, today should settle that matter, in that President Zuma today is in the doctor's hands. He could have used his right to say, in a criminal trial, I'm supposed to be here in person or the trial must stop. But President Zuma was very magnanimous because he wants this thing to proceed. He then says, no, I'm waiving my right. The trial must proceed in my absence. As it were. So this discussion that we're having today is because of the magnanimity of President Zuma. It could have stopped in 1 minute. President Zuma is not here. Case closed. But President Zuma said, no, we don't want to waste cost time. Things must proceed in my absence. How can a person that says that be accused of Stalingrad?
Well, he could have gone a step further and said the trial can begin in my absence.
The issue of the trial is the issue that is a bigger issue, and that issue is the issue that depends on the fairness of the trial. President Zuma wants the trial to proceed. The people that are stopping the trial from proceeding is the state by insisting on using Downer. As we speak here and now, in a couple of days, Downer is going to be accused, number one, in a criminal case. So it cannot be that we allow a situation where potentially accused number one in days.
Yeah, and that was raised from the beginning, when there was the initial application in the form of a special plea. And the response has been the same, not only from this court, but also from the Supreme Court of Appeal, that if the former president has any exceptions during the trial itself, those can be raised as the trial unfolds. Why is that not permissible?
This is one of those things that we always argue, that we are sick and tired of the Zuma laws. In this country, the issue of interlocutory application is a settled matter in legal terms. And to have a situation like this, where President Zuma is told to deal with a poison of a poison tree, will deal with the fruits later, is totally unacceptable. So we are saying we want to ensure that at the end of the process, we don't have fruits of a poisoned tree. So we can't be told that the interlocutory must be done at the end. What's interlocutory about it then if it's done at the end? We want it to be done at the beginning so that the conditions for the trial are fair, as it was. That's all we want. I mean, all the state could do, and we've been making this point, that the state must stop insulting the rest of the other prosecutors. It cannot be. It's not reasonable for any person to think that it's only Downer. He's the one man. The guy is even retired. Yeah, well, the only one man on earth that can do this. I mean, really.
To be fair, we know that the former president is not only asking for Downer to be removed, it's also asking that if that happens, he be given an immediate acquittal. As far as I've never come across a situation where somebody could be acquitted on that technicality and not necessarily on the merits of a particular case. I mean, that obviously takes us into a completely different realm. It's more than just about Downer. It's about Downer and a possible immediate acquittal thereafter.
You must also remember that the NPA itself is not a clean organization. So, I mean, there are two things. I mean, on this case alone, we've had left and right decision. Even on this case, there was advocate Mpier at the time. He said, drop the case. Another advocate says, bring the case. So already, the NPA is in many minds about this. And I think the fact that you have a guy like Gerrie Nel that is running a thriving enterprise on private prosecution is because of this biased prosecution by the state. When it likes, it prosecutes. When it doesn't like, it doesn't. So there's no fair standard by the NPA. So
is the insinuation, then, and I am mindful that I have to let you go, is the insinuation that even if Downer were to be removed, you'd take exception to anybody from the NPA, because the NPA, in your words, is a tainted organization anyway?
It is a tainted organization, but if conditions at that time allow for a trial to proceed, the trial will proceed. But if at that time an assessment is made to say the rot in the NPA has still not been rooted out, then we are still just postponing the problem. So, yeah.
Right. Before I do let you go, though, we obviously have a great interest in not only what happens inside court, but outside court as well. To be fair, you were pretty unequivocal yesterday in calling for all of the former president's supporters to follow the law and to essentially do the right thing. But I'm not sure if you came across a video of Dutumien, who is known to be here to support the former president, seemingly assaulting one of the journalists just outside the courtroom here. What's your response to that? I'm not understanding the definition of assault. I saw the video. I didn't see any assault. Well, I mean, we were told by the person who recorded the video that just before the moment where the video itself was captured, Dutumien tried to essentially stop the person from taking a picture of him, and part of that, there was a physical exchange that allegedly happened.
Yeah, as I say, I don't know, you go from assault to physical exchange, but all I saw is a before and after. I saw the interaction. They've had an uncomfortable interaction. I've seen that. But after that, the guy carried on taking pictures. So I think we are over-exaggerating the matter. But clearly, the situation could have been handled differently. But I don't think we should blow this thing out of proportion.
Thanks very much for speaking to us. Really do appreciate it. Mzwanele Manyi there, who is the spokesperson of the Jacob Zuma Foundation.